Welcome, everybody. Good evening. It's so exciting to see all of you all join us for this proposal seminar for our upcoming 2027 NFA convention in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are so excited to be headed back to the Midwest. And yeah, so my name is Millie Montanez. I'm the membership manager here at NFA, and we're so excited to see you all. So I'll pass it to Jennifer Clark, executive director of the NFA.
So I'm Jenny Clark. I'm the executive director of the NFA. I'm really glad to have the team with us today. I'd like to introduce our president, NFA's president, Jennifer Graham.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody fresh-faced and ready to go for another convention season. We're wrapped up from Portland and ready to go to the next one. Good to see all of you.
Great. And Vice President Francesca Arnone, who will be the president when we come to this next August.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Very excited to see that you're all here and to help if you have questions. Thanks for doing it.
Membership Manager Melly Montanus, who you just met, will be helping us with the presentation today. And 2027 Program Chair Zara Lawler.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're here and I'm really looking forward to talking about proposals and hearing your proposals, or receiving them, I should say.
Great. And Assistant Program Chair Merritt Bittix.
And I'm here too. So don't forget to include me on your, when you email Zara, include me too, please, because I am also here.
Great. Let's check out the next slide. So here's our contact information, just so that you can do that. Millie can answer any questions that you have about registration or membership when we come to registration membership. Any proposal difficulties that you have, Millie's your person to talk to. If you have any other problems or issues, I'm happy to talk to you anytime. Don't hesitate to contact me with any questions or issues. And Zara Merritt also very happy to chat with you about your proposals and ideas. So I want to get cracking right away with some data about the proposals. So if you've been part of this system before, you know that you might be submitting a proposal with a number of pieces. Not all of those pieces might be programmed, but some of them might be. So a lot of the performance sessions are actually combinations from different proposals. So that's a really important aspect of this whole process. So the review team will be looking at it from that perspective. What goes together to make a performance is not necessarily your whole proposal, but we like to get a lot of people involved and we like to put together those performances. So with that in mind, you see that most recently, the percentage of proposals that are accepted or selected is at almost half of what's submitted. In 2024, it was leaner than that, it was about 25%. But recently it's been 44, 47%. So it really is up to the program chair team and the review team to select those proposals and see what that number will look like next year. So okay. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proposal guidelines. So you'll be able to find all the detailed guidelines on our website, which is nfa.org/proposals. And there's very detailed work that our team has been doing to make sure that this is really good for this year, very updated materials. So I really encourage you, before you do anything else, read those guidelines. And the deadline is October 1st at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. So if you're on Pacific Time, you really need to do it on Central Time because that is the absolute cutoff. We won't be accepting proposals after that date. NFA membership is required. You need to be updated on that, and Millie can help you with that if you can't, if you have any issues with that. And you have to submit your proposal through the NFA portal on nfa.org, nfaonline.org, which means you have to log in And then Millie's going to show us how that works. But you can't, I know you probably wouldn't think of this, but you might be surprised that some people would actually print it out and mail it in. But we don't really do that. You have to do it through the online system, and it's connected to your membership so that we have a record of all the proposals that you might have submitted. And as I said, late submissions will not be accepted. And as I said, contact Millie with any membership issues. So we accept proposals in different categories. So these might be self-explanatory, but I'm going to run through them. So solo performance, that's flute alone or flute with another performer, which could be keyboard, electronics, percussion, or any other instrument. A chamber music, which is groups of 2 to 5, and that could be any instrumental configuration. So it could be a mixture of instruments. So 6 or more flutes are considered a flute choir, and flute choirs have a separate application, and the deadline for that is November 17th. So if you're doing a flute choir application, you do not submit your proposal through this system. That's a whole completely different thing. You can submit a proposal for a workshop, a lecture or lecture recital, a warm-up session, a sight reading session, a panel, or a poster presentation. And that list is also on the website with all the different requirements in each of those special categories. So you can submit as an individual, or you can you can submit as a commit, and committees can also submit proposals. So if you're an individual, you can submit up to 3. You can submit up to 3 proposals, but they have to be in different categories. So that the categories that we just listed. So you can't submit 3. You can't submit 3 performances or 3 workshops. It has to be one of each. And committees can submit up to 5 proposals, and committee proposals must be fully developed and further the mission and goals of the committee. So they have to have the voice of the committee, not just one person's idea. It has to be so, has to represent the interests of what that committee is trying to accomplish as a committee. And if the committee proposal looks as if it's by one member of the committee who really just wants to have an extra performance opportunity, and it doesn't represent the interests of the committee, those are not reviewed or accepted. They have to be connected to the goals and mission of that committee, and they're reviewed on the same criteria as other proposals in terms of the theme and being well described, and all those other issues. Camille? So now the moment you've been waiting for, we're going to hand over to our program chair team to talk a little bit more about the theme and what we're really looking for here.
Thank you. Again, my name is Zara Lawler. I am your program chair for 2027, and our theme is going to be cultivate, create, celebrate. And the cultivation part is, if you think about planting seeds, it's about teaching, growing, nurturing, and nourishing. We like to say that we're all here at the flute convention because someone nurtured our love of the flute. And so we're looking for proposals that are multi-generational, that might include your teacher and your students, and their students, if your students are old enough to have students. We are looking for other kinds of nurturing and cultivation. Maybe I've been calling it sideways cultivation, where you might have a special relationship with a colleague or a funding community or your home community that has nurtured your artistry, and a presentation or a performance around that would be welcome. Some good examples of that are like the Umoja Flute Institute, or the Flute New Music Consortium. These are organizations that have found ways to support our work as flute players. I'm also interested in proposals that use NFA resources, like the new Music by Black Composers book that came out now 2 years ago, or I guess it's a full year ago, and interested in committee proposals, interested in things that showcase how the NFA nurtures our flute community. The next component is create. So those are any kind of growing out of the box ideas. So we have planting and cultivate, and now we're growing and create. And it's what blossoms when we cultivate. So I'm interested in new music. I'm also interested in new approaches to old music. So old favorites performed in a new way with some sort of new perspective. We are interested in interdisciplinary performances, anything that combines the flute with other art forms, with other disciplines like science or journalism, any out of the box creative combinations. I'm also really looking for opportunities for people to experience the creative process at the convention. So workshops or other events where people can participate in the creative process are welcome. Our third component is celebrate. That's blossoming. That's the fun part. That's the party. That is the flute convention. That's the harvest of all of the growing and planting. So we're looking for things that are fun. We are looking for things that are interactive, either performances that are interactive, workshops that get people up and moving and playing, any opportunity for the audience to participate in the action. We are looking for things that celebrate the local community of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're looking for things that celebrate the local flutists there, the local history there. Minneapolis and St. Paul have been like crucibles of many of the most important social movements and issues that we have faced as a country. Any events that celebrate, honor that kind of role Minneapolis has had, we're very interested in. One example of that is we're working on creating a musical land acknowledgement for Minneapolis, a land acknowledgement that we can play and that we can participate in, and that celebrates the importance of the location of Minneapolis for especially the Dakota people, but also the many other indigenous people who live there. We're looking for events that celebrate, that are just fun. We're working on putting together an LGBTQ fife, flute, and drum band called the Pride Pipers. That'll be something fun and participatory. We're also hoping to have some events that are open to the public that will help connect the flute convention beyond the bounds of the convention center. Some performances out in the public in Minneapolis. And likewise, we're interested in proposals that connect beyond the convention. So things that, is my volume too low? Is my volume too low? I'm so sorry. I usually have this on really low for teaching flute lessons. And I turned off my original sound. Hang on. Okay, is that better? So sorry. Oh my gosh. But you kind of heard.
We heard you, yeah, but this
okay.
is better. This is
Okay.
better zone.
And we're hoping also to have a special concert that is open to families of flute convention attendees. Many of us attend with our spouses, with our children, with our families. We want to have at least one event that is open to them as well. So keep that in mind when you're putting together your proposals, because we're looking for that kind of thing. And I just wanted to highlight our unofficial fourth theme, which is connecting. We're sort of thinking about the flute in context. How does how do we as flutists connect with our home communities? How does the convention connect with the community that we're in Minneapolis and St. Paul? How do we connect with each other through the flute? We're kind of all coming at it from different angles, but we're all in it together, and that's kind of something that we are looking for in proposals. I want to just make sure that I'm really clear that we want proposals that really stick closely to the theme, that are meaningfully connected to the theme. I hope you'll really read the call for proposals carefully before you submit your proposal. We're looking for high production value in performances. We really are super excited about interactive things and participatory events. We are asking this year for you to submit recordings of you performing the proposed work or works. The one exception, of course, is if it's a world premiere. It's okay if you do not have a recording of that, but we really want you performing the works that you are submitting. If you are submitting a lecture or a workshop proposal, we want a recording of you talking to your audience or working with the audience. It doesn't have to be the entire lecture that you are proposing or the entire workshop, but a sample of your interaction with the audience. We want to know that you can do what you're proposing. And another thing that's new that I just want to highlight before moving on to the next section today is we're asking for keywords. So we will for certainly be mixing and matching proposals and putting together programs from different sources. And it would be helpful to us to have your thoughts on kind of some keywords that might be useful in programming your works, your proposal, and for people to find your proposal or your performance. So, for example, if you're proposing a Prince tribute because you're thinking about Minneapolis and you're thinking about Prince. That's a little idea, Prince tribute. You might want Prince or Prince tribute to be your hashtag. You can think of it as a hashtag or a keyword, something that someone might be able to search for and find, like, I'm looking for music about nature, or I'm looking for events for very young students, or for working with whatever particular population. And those do not need to be the categories. They don't need to be like any of the categories that you can already check off do not need to be the hashtags or keywords. Special words that you think might be helpful in programming your work and for people to later find your work in the guidebook. I think that's all I needed to say. I'm super excited.
Great. Thank you, Zara. We appreciate that insight. On the hashtags and keywords, we do have plenty of examples on the website and on the form. So please make sure to read over that. But let me share, let's see what's next on the slide, and we'll keep going. So let me share my screen here. All right, so tips and insights.
Thanks, Millie. So so this is an opportunity for the previous program chairs who are in the room to share some of their thoughts, and these have been collected from previous program chairs that have given us some tips in the past. So here's a few prompts, but maybe Jen and Francesca want to chime in with either these or other comments.
I think, hi, everybody. I think as, what's always helpful whenever I'm sort of trying to put something together is putting myself in the mind of the person receiving the information. So pretend you are Zara and she's got 500 of these to read. what would be easiest for her to read through all of this stuff. And clarity, 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 like just being as super clear so that there's no questions whatsoever. That always helps me to be like, okay, if I were to really, think about how this is being received, I would want to not have Zara have any questions about what I'm doing. So just, that's just one general thing to think about is, how clear is my presentation? And is it reader friendly? Is it user friendly? Another little tip just for myself that I found was useful is that because program chairs tend to piecemeal programs together, proposing shorter works is a little easier than programming long works with many, many movements. So if you have a piece you're dying to play that's 35 minutes, go ahead and do it, but just be aware that it's a little harder to program something that's that big with one person on it than a 10-minute piece, 8-minute piece, that kind of thing. And just thinking about how the programs fit together, that just something that, it may not be exactly what Zara's thinking about, but just in general, it is easier because we want to feature as many people as possible. And so the shorter the piece, the more opportunity we have to do that. That's just something off the top of my head. Francesca, do you have any other thoughts?
Thanks, Jen. Those are great suggestions. I think along those lines, read out loud anything that you're intending to submit. I think our eyes get used to what we write, and mind fixes things for me. So I typically just put everything in a document and just cut and paste so that it's all there ready. I know it's on the list, I think, but that really helps me. And I actually have an NFA folder just so that I know what I did the last time, and how can I spruce it up or change things so that it's clearer or really speaks to the theme and really is as complete as possible. I think things that get programmed to really fit the call and fill a need that address the programming and answer or resonate with what the call is. So, and maybe think about also what you might like to attend, and what do you think was missing, and that would fit in the theme. But just be organized, plan ahead. You don't have to submit it at the last minute because they all come in at the end. So really, if you can do it early, even 10 days early, that would be amazing. And just chip away at it a little at a time, get away from it, come back to it. But really excited to see what you all propose. So don't hesitate, do it.
Another thought I had was if you're proposing something that's not a performance, maybe like a lecture or a panel or something like that, thinking about as wide of an audience as possible that fits the theme is going to be most likely easier for them to program than something that is super, super, super niche that has a very small audience. It's a little harder if you've got, again, 500 proposals to go through. It's really hard for the PC team to try to fit everything in when they know that the audience for this one subject is quite small. So think big, think broad, think, inclusive, as she's saying. So just in your mind, if you're doing something that's not a performance, as broad as possible to include as many people as possible. And yes, international as they come. So Australia, we've had people from Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, everywhere. So come on over.
Great.
Great.
I think
I could
yes.
just go on with more tips. We probably don't need the slides, Millie. I
Okay,
just can keep
great.
going here.
Mhm.
So one thing that's really important is that you observe the word limits that are described in the proposal. That's really, really important that you don't have really long bios or really long descriptions, because with the volume that we're looking at, we're probably not going to read them all, and they could just be sliced and diced, and then you don't have any control over what that's going to look like. So please observe those word limits, and Millie will show you where we get to that in the process as well. Yeah, so definitely prepare your materials offline because once you get to the proposal, you can't save. So you need to just have it all ready to slip right in to your proposal. And then at the end of it, you're just going to click on save and off it goes. So if you have collaborators, and a number of proposals do involve more than one person, you really need to get their information really early, like now, so that you can work together to figure out all the information that you need, including their bios and any descriptions and any materials. So collaborations can take a lot of work, so for them to be really good. So that's something you really want to start early. As we mentioned before, your work samples are really important and they can take a long time as well. So definitely make sure you read the guidelines really carefully to see what the special requirements are for those. And be sure to follow the guidelines about the way that you upload those work samples. We have specific requirements about the platforms that they can go on this year. So there are 4 platforms that are described in the guidelines. So make sure that you follow those guidelines about where you put the links, and also that you make sure that they're fully accessible and they're not private links that we can't use. Because the chances that we can follow up, it's not 100% guaranteed. If we can't click on your links, that could be it. Oh, and just one final reminder that when you come to think about your proposals, if there's a pianist involved, for proposals, we don't provide pianists. So that might be something to think about when you're selecting a repertoire, that you're responsible for finding your own pianist. There are NFA pianists, but they're working on specific programming that's not the proposal programming.
And just to go on top of that from what Jenny said is if your piece requires a piano, but you don't have a pianist, make sure that in your proposal, it's very clear that the piece has piano in it. We may know things like, the Prokofiev sonata has a piano in it, but we may not know a lot of pieces by contemporary composers, and he has a colorful name to it, and we don't know that it's for flute and piano. And then we come to the convention and it's been put in a room with no piano because it didn't say it needed a piano. So if your piece requires a piano, make sure you include that in your proposal.
Great. And so we talked a little bit about the review process. So basically, just to go over that again. So there'll be a committee of flutists and music professionals who will be reviewing the proposals along with the program chair team, Zara and Merritt. And proposal notifications are sent out the very end of January. And we will have some tools on the website which can help you along with your proposal. So those will be available at the end of this week, which will be a PDF guide of the online application, a video guide to the application, and sample proposal application form. So those will be all available at the end of the week. So with that, I'm going to pass back to Millie, and she's going to log on and show us through the application process. And after that, we'll have time for some Q&A.
Hi, everybody. I will share my screen here in a second. We are going to start on our website, nfaonline.org. The very first thing that you should do, that we ask you to do, is read through all of the convention proposal submission requirements. All of that is on our website. If you go to convention and then 2027 Minneapolis call for proposals, you will have all of the details that we talked about today. But if you want to review them, send them to people on your team. Please, 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 please read through this before you start your application. All of the information that you would need on here. And if you have any questions, again, you can ask me or the program chairs. So please read through this. And we are actually, so once you have all of your materials ready, we will also have like a PDF or Word doc with all of the questions and the things that we need, the actual application as a sample on here. That's just like an open link that you can send to people. We especially do this if you are a new member. So welcome anybody who is potentially a new person that is submitting for the first time. So we will have that up on the website by the end of the week for you to reference. So you don't necessarily have to log on. But once you're ready, this is a process of how to actually submit your proposal. So once you go to nfaonline.org, up here you'll have the login button. So please log into your account, and I'm already logged in, and you'll have this little person symbol. So it says welcome Millie. I'm clicking on that, and then I'm going to go into my NFA portal, my member portal. So we'll give it a second here. Just give it a second. My internet's pretty fast, but sometimes it just takes a second to load. So if you are an active NFA member, um, under events and proposals, you're going to click on that. You will have the 2027 convention proposal application. If this is not showing up for you, that 99% sure that that means that you are not an active member. So you will have to go through the process of activating your membership, and then the application will be live for you. And again, if you have any questions or issues with renewing or joining, just email me and I can help you. So 2027 convention proposal application, click on that. And then once again, 2027 convention proposal application, and then the application will come up. So again, please read through the following details that we have provided for you. The number one thing is that unfortunately the form does not save. So you have to be ready to submit with all of your materials. The moment that you did it, you have to submit. So this form will not save your progress. Make sure that all of the required fields are filled in. The form is a little long, so make sure that you're going through it in detail. I get lots of questions every year. Oh, why can't I move on to the next page? Because they missed like the one asterisk that was required. So you just give yourself plenty of time. Um, no additional materials can be submitted via email. Please do not submit your proposal via email or via snail mail. We can only do it through the proposal system that is attached to your NFA membership and attached to your account. The big thing is you need to provide us open links. So either through YouTube, Vimeo, Google Drive, or Dropbox, something that is accessible to anybody, and that is not a paid subscription service. So we will not be taking like Spotify or SoundCloud, where you would have to have a paid service for people to access, because we have lots of people looking at this stuff, and you need to double check that the links are working and that they're open to for you to use. So like Jenny reiterated, we would like a full program descriptions are 250 words. Program book descriptions must not exceed 40 words. And this is new. Bios will now be 60 words or less. In the past, that's been different. So make sure that your bios and that all of the people that are collaborating with you, bios are 60 words or less. Again, please read through this. Another new thing that we mentioned is that for workshops, lectures, presentations, and panels, the program chair team would like a video sample of you doing a lecture or a presentation, something that shows your like public speaking abilities and what your, the messages that you're trying to convey. That is a new thing for this year. So I just wanted to point that out again. And again, if you have any questions, communications. Oh, the other thing that I skipped over that's really important, if you have any ADA requests, or if you need, let's say in the past we've had people who requested wheelchair ramps to get onto the stages or something like that, please make sure to reach out to NFA Convention Director Lauren Watt with those requests. We want to make the convention as accessible as we can to everybody. So once you read all through that and you have all your stuff ready, we're actually going to fill out the application now. So please put your performer or group name, or sometimes it's a group, sometimes it's just you. So I'm going to put Millie's group here. Put your title. I'm going to put Mozart Concerto in G, our favorite. Pro Proposal description, again, 250 words max. Next question, what are your goals for this session? Please include this. 100 words max. Make sure that, this is a question on how that ties back into also the theme of the convention this year. Your first name and last name, pronouns, email. I will reiterate, our emails from the NFA are frequently blocked by university email addresses, spam. So we ask that you provide your personal email address at all possible so that we can follow up with you to make sure that that your status of your application will be sent to this email address. So please make sure that you add a non-edu email address. I'm going to put my personal email address just for reference. Your city. Okay. Phone number. All right, so proposal information. Please select the categories that applies to your proposed session. So again, these categories are available on our website. So I'm going to put workshop. If it's other, please put other. Program book description. Make sure that this is a concise 40 words. We do not live stream all NFA events, but we do pick and choose some to live stream at the convention. So this is not a guarantee, but if you would like to potentially have your event live stream, please put yes or no. If you're submitting it behalf of a committee, please write the committee name. Also this year, we are exploring the possibility of having an outdoor performance along with your indoor performance. So if you're willing to participate in that potentially, please put yes or no. And then here is the field for the hashtags/keywords. Again, we have, some examples for you: music by Black composers, Prince tribute, nature, freelance. That is the type of hashtags that we are asking for you to, or words that we are asking for you to include in the proposal. All right, proposal categories. Please select all that apply. Again, this is another way that we can filter and we can piece together the proposals. All right. Proposal detail. So we've decided that you will have 5 that you can propose. If you have more, I'll go through it later, but there will be an area for you to put your full program. So we're going to do the full title, the date of your composers, first name, last name, their composers' dates, if there's an arranger, if it's a world premiere. Your timing is very important of your work. And this year we're adding, this is new, your time needed to set up and if there's any spoken introduction of the work. That's also really important, as we know some, electronic pieces take maybe a little bit longer for you to be able to set up your pedals and set up your tech. And if there's, let's say, a poem or something that goes along with your piece, we need to know the exact timing for that for programming reasons. So please make sure that you include that as well. The publisher, please make sure that you include that. That will go on our repertoire list in the future. Is this work currently in print? And then all of the movements that you intend to play. So, and here again are your links, Dropbox, Vimeo, Google Drive, YouTube only. Make sure they're open and make sure that you describe the link. So what we're talking about description is if it is you performing the piece, for example, we would like to know in the description, this is me performing the piece, at this chapel on this day. That would be extremely helpful for us to know that information. So that is why we put that description on there. Please make sure that you fill that out. So you have all of these fields for for the works that you want to propose. Okay. Great. And then on here, we put open link to additional repertoire. So if you're proposing more than 5 works, make sure that you include the full program as a PDF or Word doc that we can access through a link. You have the option to put your full program on here. Performer bios, please put your bio and
Can I just
please,
chime in,
yes,
Millie? If
yes, yes.
people are submitting more than 5 works, we need the program information for the additional works as well as recordings of each additional. So all
Yes.
the same information that we ask for the things that there are blanks for, if you're proposing something in addition to that, we want you please use the previous part as a template for the information that we need for each of the successive works.
Yes, thank you, Zara. I will also make sure that is clarified on the website. I'm going to add that to the website. Great. So for bios, make sure that the bios are for any soloists, accompanists, conductors, and ensembles for 5 people or less. We typically have issues with missing bios, even if you don't know exactly the person that you're going to be collaborating with. We need something so that we know that you have multiple people on your program. Later on in the convention cycle, we will ask you to update that, and you can update that if your person changes. It doesn't have to be 100% set. Ideally, yes, but you can change if things happen, people get sick or they change jobs. But make sure that you are including not just your bio, but also your collaborators' bios. We would really appreciate that. So you have slots to be able to do that, and we give you 5. But again, if you have any more, you have that like other field there for you to do. Again, if you're doing a workshop, lecture, panel, or presentation, please provide an open link clip of you giving a lecture, panel, or workshop. It would be great if it's the actual one that you're proposing, but if it's not the proposed event, something similar, so the program chairs know what they are looking for. And then also if you want to add some supporting materials like an outline, or if you have the PowerPoint, for example, for your presentation, you can also add that here. Okay, equipment requests. So this is a little long and wordy, and if you have any additional questions outside of this, please feel free to email, I would assume, Jenny or our convention director, Lauren Watt. So every performance room will have a mixer of speakers, a podium, a microphone, or a microphone with stand. And so all of these things will be in every performance room. So check here if you agree. And the big thing is you will have to bring your own technology depending on what you are doing. We do not provide laptops. We do not provide iPads. The convention center or hotel's Wi-Fi, it is not guaranteed. It just depends on, so just if you need to download your presentation, make sure you do that ahead of time. And even if you have paid access, we cannot guarantee like the reliability or the speed. I don't think we've had much issues of that in the past. But we just never know until we get to the space. So the NFA will not provide a technician to operate your audio or video during your presentation. It is your responsibility. But there are some technicians with equipment set up at the beginning of your rehearsal or upon request, but will not remain to operate your presentation. So make sure that you think about that ahead of time. And again, if you have any more specific questions that we might not be able to answer today about this, we can email us, and we can get that sorted out for you. I'm going to check all of these. If you need a projector and screen. So yeah, I think, of course, like I went through this and I probably missed one. Give me 1 second. Okay. It's not giving me.
Did you submit a performer bio? Is that?
I thought I did.
Oh.
One sec. Also, but I will just say, I'll look for it here in a sec if I can't find it. The preview button will turn blue, and that will take you to the preview screen. But again, you will not be able to save. You can go back at that moment, but it's not like you can save and then go back in and like work on it here and piece it together. Once you hit submit, you will receive an email with all of these fields as a copy to you. So you have that for reference. So please save that email. And I will also get a copy of it. If you have any questions about, did it actually go through or I'm unsure, I please email me because I have backend access to all of your proposals. So if there's any sort of hesitation about, if or for whatever reason you didn't get the email, please check your spam. But that is the confirmation that we have information, and all of the things that you have filled out will be copied onto that email. Great. I think that's all I have. Jenny?
Great. So I think that we can go straight to we can stop recording now. We can go to the Q&A, and I think